Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Hillary, a marketing manager at Sprout, and today I'm really excited to be joined by Shayna Kaypour. Shayna is a first generation finance student at Penn State who has been deeply involved in mentoring, leadership, and career development on campus. She currently works as a business career center intern where she helps hundreds of students navigate recruiting, resume building, and interviews. She also recently received an offer at Alpha FMC where she'll be heading into consulting for this summer. What really stands out about Shayna isn't just her achievements, but how her first generation experience shaped the way she approaches leadership, helping others, and building her career. So today we're going to talk about her journey, her perspective, and the lessons she learned along the way that can help other students navigate recruiting. To start us off, Shayna, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and share a little bit more about your background. Can you tell us about your journey at school so far, what you're studying specifically, and how your experiences in college have shaped where you are today?
Yeah. So really happy to be talking with you. I'm very excited today. So my name is Shayna Kaypour. I'm a finance major at Penn State University with a minor in supply chain and IST. So when I first got to Penn State as a first generation student, I didn't really know how to navigate, anything without college. Obviously, my parents didn't go here, so I really didn't have like the guidance that I really needed. But when I first got here, I really knew that I needed to hone into what I really loved. If I really wanted to, succeed at Penn State, if I really wanted to, find that social ground to, in order to succeed professionally. So I really had to channel into what I really loved, which above all, I love helping others, which is where I got into my first generation org first at meal, where I now serve as the marketing chair. Through that, I literally directly help people and the org get more, outreach and engagement. So that's something that's really rewarding. I can always help first generation students, like myself. I also knew that I need to, do what I really love to do outside of schoolwork and all that stuff, which for me is to sing. So I joined my a cappella group, Shades of Blue, where we engage with an audience of over 190,000 people. Yeah, so I share my music there every single day. Those are my group of friends that I really made throughout here in order to, make my experience more wholesome and meaningful to me so I can, keep pushing myself every day to, strive professionally. Through that, got that confidence. I interviewed to become a SMEAL student mentor where I also directly help people, navigate their way throughout college. And now I serve as a business career center intern where I help people professionally with their resumes, mock interviews, where really helped me gain more experience personally and professionally. I take advice from so many people and they take advice from me. So it's really rewarding experience there. But at the end of the day, being first gen, it's really taught me that all my successes, come from me. There's no one else. Obviously, I have like an amazing support system at home, amazing support system here. But at the end of the day, you take so much credit for, the things that you achieve. And that's a really great thing. But also with that comes a lot of pressure, to succeed and do well. But it's been really rewarding so far. I'm really glad that, I put myself out there, did finance, joined all the clubs that I'm in. Yeah.
I would love to learn a little bit more about your first generation experience. And with that being said, I would love to ask, what does being a first generation student mean to you personally? And how has that identity shaped the way you approach school, career decisions, and other opportunities?
Yeah. So for me, it's been the one thing that, really helped me stand out. When you tell someone that you're first gen, their immediate reaction is, oh, wow, like your parents didn't go here. Where are they from? It's a really good connecting point to talk to people. Being first gen means that you're very independent, how to work things out by yourself. Being a natural people person also is what being first gen means as well because in my org I'm always talking to people from different countries, different places, they all have different styles of communicating. It really means that you really can talk to people from all over the world because all these people come from totally different backgrounds, different cultures, and it's something that is really like admirable when you can speak to all kinds of people. But it just really means at the end of the day, your success comes from you. Everything that you're doing you need to be taking so much credit for, and you need to be using the support system around you as well in order to get to where you want to be. And for me, that was joining all these orgs and clubs in order to find that community. And there's a community for people everywhere, especially at a big university like Penn State.
I know you said that you're heavily involved in mentoring and leadership. What motivated you to get involved with First at Meal and student mentorship on campus?
For me, when I first came here, obviously I didn't have that guidance. And I always, throughout high school, I was that guiding hand. I was a tutor. I did a lot of different stuff for other people. I would join a lot of community orgs. So I had a lot of that experience already. And that was just something I wanted to continue. But Coming into college is a completely different environment than high school. Coming into college, I had an amazing academic advisor. There is specific ones for first generation students that, really can help you progress and, thrive like any other student would. So it was her idea to start like this whole first generation organization. And through one of my classes that I had to take is where, I really connected on a deeper level with her. We obviously, got acquainted and she appointed me and like seven other students within, my grade to become the executive members of the first this org first that's meal. And my freshman year, it really wasn't anything like crazy. Like no one would come. Like, it was us just trying to, figure stuff out that student where students would want to join. So it was surreal that, now like hundreds of students are coming to like our events and like organizations. Being the person that's responsible for that outreach and getting people acquainted to First Sets Meal and like knowing what it is like very rewarding. The fact that I can help others every single day, find a community of people where they literally come up to you and say, like, I'm so happy that like this is my organization. I met so many friends from it is just so rewarding. Love that so much. But yeah, the main reason I wanted to do mentoring and get involved in all these orgs is because I didn't really have that in any sense professionally when I came to college. So I really just wanted to help others with that experience. For me, I was lucky enough to have an amazing advisor that helped me through a lot of the stuff, but I know a lot of people don't. They don't really have that guidance and they also need more friends, their first friends at Penn State. So I am really glad to be a part of something like that. And I just wanted to do it because I wanted to give back to people that don't really have that kind of support.
You also work at the Business Career Center helping students with recruiting. Can you share what your role looks like day to day?
Yeah. So I work at, the front desk. Students come in and they need help with their resumes, mock interviews. My whole job is to just, really help people with their professional development as a whole. Mostly I review resumes, I tailor it to their specific experiences, make their bullets sound more, amped up better to make them, sound like they're doing God's work pretty much. Mock interviews as well. I come in, I help tailor their, answers to what would be best for the role that they're applying for. Through that, I learned a lot about, how different people answer, what works and what doesn't work, which really helped me personally with my, like, job search, with my interviews. But yeah, it's mostly people with, come in with professional development questions like, how do I get this internship? How do I connect with people? Like, what does networking look like? When do I start? Anything professional development related, we are trained to do. We are trained to, cover and help people tackle. It's mostly just helping people with that setting, and it's specifically designed for business students, so they have a lot more tailored experiences, so to help them, really thrive in the business school and beyond.
You do mention the word tailored a lot.
Mhm.
So if you don't mind me asking, why do you think it's so important to tailor your resume and your cover letter before submitting an application to a job or an internship role?
Yeah, I think it's very important because, obviously you wanna align your skills to what the role is, asking for. Like, for example, I had to align, people skills because, in order to be a consultant, you have to know how to talk, you have to know how to converse with people, anyone. You also have to know how to be organized, all that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that you're tailoring, your resume to the job application in order to get past that, resume stage and for the interview process. I always tell students your resume is to get you an interview. That's its sole purpose. And if you can do that and if you land the interview, that is all you need. It's very important, to just really emphasize your skills, even if you don't think it relates to, what you want to do, like emphasizing the common skills like leadership, communication, presenting skills. It's always important to, emphasize all those things within your resume, but tailoring it to that specific experience really does like so much more for, when you're going through this recruiting process.
I see. And I think that's also one thing that we realized here at Sprout. It's very hard to bypass the ATS system if you're not tailoring your resume, your experiences towards the specific job description. It really does come down to how well can you personalize your experience, the learnings from your past professional experience, and apply that to the role that you're applying for. And in that sense, we've seen users that have tailored their resume or turned on that toggle button to tailor their application have seen a lot more success in landing interviews. The whole point of a resume, the whole point of a cover letter is to get you to that interview stage.
Yeah.
And from that point on, if you pass the interviews, you do well, you have great conversations with the hiring managers, then the job is yours. What are some of the most common challenges you see students facing when navigating recruiting? From when you start recruiting as like a freshman, sophomore, and now that you're a junior going into your senior year next year, what do you think are some key issues that students struggle with the most?
Yeah. So I think that people struggle a lot with how to kind of connect with employers in person, over the phone, just like what to say and how to really stand out. I think that's like the one question that students like come in a lot for is how do I make myself stand out like when I'm talking to people, when I'm in an interview, how do I make myself memorable? And I think in order to do that, you have to just find something about yourself that's unique, like everything else. Like, for example, for me, I always use my acapella experience and I tailor that to like how it's really helped me throughout learning about presenting, communicating with other people. Like, you always have to find that one unique thing about yourself. But I think the most common issue that people face is finding that, especially within like tell me about yourself. Students really don't know how to like answer that question and tailor it to themselves. They're kind of just like rereading their resume. They're kind of just saying like, yeah, like this is what I do now. Nothing unique about them, but I just for me it's kind of like who's the kind of person you want to work for? You want someone that like you can talk to, one that you can converse with, not someone that just like, has a 4.0 GPA and doesn't know how to talk. Like they always have problems with how to kind of present themselves and how they want to, recruiters to like view them in like a career fair kind of setting. It's all about like, how do I present myself in order to land that role? And I
I see. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think, especially at that stage, a lot of students struggle how to connect work experience if they do have any. And I know that it could also be extracurriculars or involvements on student campuses, which I think is really important to be involved with extracurriculars on campus. You'll start picking up on certain skill sets, whether it's technical. I would say that's more so soft skills. I do want to give you a hypothetical question,
yeah.
just out of my own curiosity. So, say a student comes in and they're a student athlete on the football team, and they're applying for a finance role at, let's say, JP Morgan. This person has no previous work experience, but they have experience from being part of a sports team. What tips or pieces of advice you would give them to make themselves stand out as a competent applicant for this finance role at JP Morgan?
I think that goes hand in hand with the finance role. It's very competitive. You always have to be thinking like right there on your feet. It's a fast paced environment. Obviously, each game is, like 2 hours long. You have to, really think and adjust to, what is going on right now in order to, think about the solutions that you make in the future. Like making a play is like the same as, making a decision in the workplace. So I would tell that student, you can literally make it seem like you making a play on the football field is like you making a, decision at JP Morgan. It's like the same kind of thing. You can always relate anything. Like I literally relate how, I perform at stage to like how I'd be in like presenting at like a panel with like a team of people if I was a consultant. Like you can relate literally anything, but specifically for that player, I'd say, just treat it like JP Morgan is literally like the football field. Like you're making fast decisions, doing it on the fly. You're working with a team of people, which is exactly what you need to be doing in like literally any business role.
I would actually love to talk about your own recruiting journey as well. What initially drew you towards finance and consulting?
Yeah. So at first I chose finance because, I've always been drawn to numbers. My favorite, class in high school was always math and, analytics, calculus, all that stuff. But finance and business specifically, because business is all around you. Whenever you see a flyer, that's marketing, you see the chair you're sitting at, it took supply chain, professional to get that where it is today. So it's all around us. That's the ultimate reason, I picked finance. I didn't really know that I wanted to go into consulting specifically when I got to Penn State. I actually knew I did through all, like, my leadership experience and my extracurriculars, like you said before, you learn so much more from being in that setting. I help people every day with my orgs, and I think it's really rewarding, and in order to, like, go into a career like that, which is consulting, it's like you're basically a professional mentor. But for my recruiting process, it's been a little, difficult. So last semester, I was applying to everything. I was, going online, going to the specific websites, applying to those. It worked out, like, a little bit, it was very, like, here and there. I never, like, really knew what was happening, but, I was scrolling on Instagram one day, I found Sprout, and I said, "You know what? Why not just try this?" Because I know the job market right now is, like, not the best it can be, so I thought, "Let me just try anything that is available to me." So I downloaded it. A couple of first round interviews from that. And it was very helpful because you already have to worry about your resume and how it looks and your cover letter. And to have a platform like this to, just put it all in one place and to just get the application part out of it to save so much time and then to get that interview so you just have to worry about the interview process is just like such a relief and like honestly made my stress go down like significantly. And also it gives you, the offers that you got all in one place and it's just very, very convenient for like obviously students that have other stressors going on now, with their classes, extracurriculars. So I think it was very helpful in that sense.
Exactly. I feel like there is a lot of pressure for students already just because they're doing school and students like you are already so involved with so many things on campus. And on top of that, applying to jobs itself is stressful, but now you have to tailor each application.
Mhm.
It is a very strenuous process. And it's already a fact that students have a lot on their plate, especially for students like you that are so involved with campus while working a job and another internship as well. So I do commend you for that. And I'm really glad to hear that you had a positive Sprout experience. Can you walk us through the moment you received your Alpha FMC offer through Sprout and how did that feel? And also, what made you think that Alpha FMC felt like the right fit for you and your long-term future goals?
Yeah, so when I first got the email for my hire review, I was very shocked. I didn't know that, this platform would really work for me because it was just something that I saw recently and was like, wow, seems like surreal that, I would actually be getting opportunities from it. So once I went through that whole process, did my interviews, um, I was like ecstatic to get an offer when they called me. I didn't believe it. I was like calling my mom, everybody I knew, like, oh my God, I got an offer from like this place that I really want. But the funny thing is I really didn't know anything about the company that I applied for. I knew that I wanted to go into consulting by them, but I didn't know like that company specifically. So when I applied, it was kind of like, yeah, going into it like I didn't have that like kind of stress as I would have had if I applied to like a company that I like knew. I don't really know the company that well anyway, but now that I do and, like, I kinda talk to the, people, like, I learned so much about, like, the industry itself, the people that work there, what I'd be doing, and that really, like, helped me, get comfortable and adjusted and really figure out what I wanted to do. Um, but yeah, I just think when I got the offer, it was, like, a surreal experience. I really didn't think I was gonna get anything from, like, an app that I saw online, but you really never know until you try. Um, I'm really glad I did. I really didn't think it would work out. I thought it was just gonna be something else that, like, I found that, wasn't legit, but no, it was great. The company, everyone that works there seems amazing. I've been connecting with the recruiter, like, every single day, like, she's amazing. So, you can really find a lot of opportunity from things that you see online. You just have to go give it a shot.
Looking back now, what advice would you give to other first gen students who are navigating recruitment today?
Yeah, so I would say, definitely don't underestimate what you can do. I know a lot of first generation students, they're very independent. They have to, look out for everything themselves. They have to figure everything out without having, that really kind of professional help and support system. So don't undermine that, ability that you have. It's definitely something that, every company looks for. You have to be able to figure things out. So definitely that is something that you shouldn't undermine in order to, get yourself situated without like within school and making yourself comfortable with all that stuff. Um, there's always a community wherever you go. Like if you're, entering college, there's literally always something for you. Like you can join anything that you love. There's a club for everything. If there isn't, get out there, start one. You can always talk to your advisor. You can always talk to people around you. I think getting, involved in a community, literally just one is something so amazing that, like, people underestimate. I've learned so much from just, like, joining a club and going there and, singing and performing on stage. I've learned so much, so my one advice would to be definitely getting involved, early, wherever you are. Really, like, utilize the resources around you. I didn't really know the career center existed until I applied for a job there, and I wish I had because then I would have known, how to navigate the recruiting process a lot more efficiently. But definitely utilize the resources around you and, talk to people around you. Everyone's in the same boat. People always want to make new friends. So just get yourself out there. I know it's really nerve wracking at first, but get yourself situated and join an org. That's like the best advice. Like I tell everybody here.
Before we wrap up, I'd love to ask one last question.
Mhm.
What kind of impacts do you hope to make through your career, both professionally and personally?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really hope to learn more about myself throughout this experience. Obviously, I haven't had, prior work experience in New York City and in consulting as a whole. So I hope to learn more about myself. But overall, I really hope to, continue telling people every day that like nothing's impossible. You think it is until you get it. Like I didn't think I was going to get an offer until I got one. So you really never know. I hope to continue helping other people throughout, my career, which is exactly why I'm going into consulting. You really directly, help companies improve, themselves and their employees as a whole. So honestly, I just hope to continue doing what I'm doing now, and I hope that people can see that like nothing is impossible. You can do whatever you put your mind to. Um, and that's basically all. I just want to continue, helping others in any way that I can. Making sure that people know that anything is possible.
Shayna, thank you so much for sharing your story and insights today. I think your journey really highlights how identity, leadership, and purpose can shape not only career decisions, but also the way we support others along the way. And for students watching, especially those navigating recruitment as first gen students, I really do hope that this conversation gives you both encouragement and a few takeaways to apply to your own recruitment journey. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next Sprout feature.